Hello and welcome to the first video on Pop Beat Breakdowns, a new YouTube channel by me, Joe Gorchi, where I break down pop beats that I have made. The reason why I started this channel is because as someone who's taken the academic route as a producer, I actually found the best way to learn about production was watching producers break down their own productions, seeing what they've done and seeing if I can take anything from them and use them in my own productions to improve myself as a producer. So now I'm hoping I can do the same for any of you guys aspiring to be producers, or maybe you're new and want to get into production. In today's video, I'm going to be breaking down a pop beat which is a duo, Lipa, in the dance and synth pop genre. This song today I modeled off of one of her singles called Love Again, so I'm going to be taking you through the beat outcome sound that we have, hoping that you maybe learn some things along the way. So if you're watching this video for the first time, smash that subscribe button as it's the best way to support the channel, and let's dive into this video. Okay, so let's have a listen to the production and then let's break it down one instrument at a time. So this was the outcome. Now, the thing I love about this production and Dua Lipa songs is the sort of feel-good factor you get from the song, but at the same time, like, it's a dance beat, it's four on the floor, it's energetic, high energy, as I say, and it was something that was actually quite easy to make if you get all the right elements put together. And I'm going to go through how I layered each instrument in order. So starting with was the bass. So to make this song happen, I first had to get a funky bass groove in, so I got this into the project, and this is what I produced the whole song around. So yeah, very funky bass line, sets the feel for the song. And the next thing that I thought was very important to do when putting this bass in was next to put the kick in, because the kick, snare and bass, they run off each other when it's the rhythm section. So I then found this kick sound which I've really loved, and I literally just did four on the floor. We're starting to get a vibe. And on every second beat, obviously, then the snare was added. For any of you who may be curious, the snare and kicks were sampled from Splice. I use Splice for a lot of my percussion because though Logic does have some decent stock drum samples and sounds, I like to go to Splice because sometimes I just have a bank saved of the exact drum sounds that I like, and there was some that I found that really fitted into this feel of the song that I was going for. So then again, naturally building the drum section, I added some close and open hi-hats, just some feels like at the end of every 4 bars, just to keep the drums going, a little bit spicy. So with the now you can hear that I really wanted the drums to bounce, so I did every hi-hat on the offbeat, so they were every single drum pattern, so the kick and snare will hit together, but the hi-hat would be every single in between, so the gaps are getting filled basically in the drum section, and that helped create this really bouncy drum and bass. So the rhythm section already is really funky, so we're on our way. And now the next thing that is very common in Dua Lipa and also in Charlie Puth productions, if you really want to start adding a little bit more of a bounce and a feel good and some counter melodies into there, was adding muted guitar. So this I believe is the muted guitar that I added. Let's have a listen to that by itself. Now, for those of you wondering what that is, this is Contact Electric Vintage. This is very good guitar sampling software. I use, again, the muted section, the melody, and I set my own custom parameters for the sound based on the road trip preset. And I absolutely love this. Like, I am a guitar player, I can play guitar, but this just makes it so much easier for the quantizing, and because you can really humanize these things, I just think it's great, really easy to use, and I just put it in. Literally hardly any. We haven't used any real plugins other than like a slight channel EQ with a slight roll off on the high end to this point, and again, we've already got something going. And I really wanted the muted guitar to be something that's counteracting the bass, like trying to fill in them gaps. So to make the production more interesting, like, don't just copy ideas, try and expand on the idea from the bass. So that nice little counter melody helps give the production a lot more movement. So I could have just, copied what the bass was doing with the muted guitar, but because it's kind of playing more in the lower frequency of the song, the muted guitar, because I'm playing lower down the octave. But again, wanted that counter melody in there. So when we added our second guitar, this is where we start to add what I call the, not only like the vibes, but the atmosphere to the track with this second guitar here, which again, it is a MIDI guitar using the electric vintage. Let's have a listen to this. Sounds great. Now for this one, I've just added the ROM, which is a native instrument reverb. I love this reverb. It is so good and easy to use. Again, I haven't touched the size at all. There's just a 3.9 second decay. Haven't touched any of the other like frequency band parameters on it. We just mixed it in like 28%, so we're still getting that dry signal through, but then we've got that nice wet from the reverb starting to add that atmosphere to the track. So when you put everything together, this is what we have so far. This is sort of like got the idea from a lot of Dua Lipa tracks where you have that blend of like sort of like funky electric guitar, but also you got to have the ambience in there as well, because the tracks are very ambient though very sort of bouncy. So it's a very hard blend to get, especially in the synth pop genre. We haven't actually added any synths yet. So with the pads, I always find the best way to utilize them is to put them into a track stack. Then you can blend loads of pads sounds together to create that desired pad sound you're actually going for. So we start off here with a dark background. So this is a preset in the retro synth, and you'll notice that this synth's got really nice rhythmic throb to it. Now, how that's achieved is in the actual pads track stack, I've got a sidechain compressor, and it's sidechained to the kick. So every time the kick is initiated, the volume of the pad is reduced significantly, like in contrast to when the kick plays, creating this throbbing sound. And it's on all the pads, so this gives my pads a really nice rhythmic quality going forward. And I've blended the dark backgrounds, which again is preset, with an Omnisphere pad. This one is the hybrid warm string section from Omnisphere. Very nice, straight out the tin. And then we've got a dark swirl pad, again from the retro synth. Put them all together, it makes a lot more sense. And again, that just acts really nicely. So let's listen to that with the rest of the track. So you can see I've got it mixed in, so it's sort of like sitting kind of in the background. So then again, that's creating sort of that atmosphere, like the behind stuff to the stuff at centerpiece, like the bass and the drums in this song, because the bass and the drums are very important from a mix point of view to have at the forefront of these mix. But again, having the pads sat in and around there really helps like create again that atmosphere that we're looking for, which is very prominent in Dua Lipa tracks. And to try and make it more surround sound, I've used a chorus effect where I've turned the intensity and the mix up to 100% and then the rate at 0.067 hertz. This allows me to basically push the pads right out to the sides of the mix, but not tarnish or like overly modulate the sound of the synth to ruin what we've tried to build by putting these three synths together. We're nearly there for it is, but the next thing that we need, and it's very popular in a lot of Dua Lipa songs, is strings. The way she utilizes strings in her productions, like it's so gives it such a nostalgic and retro feel to it. So these are the two string sections I've put in. Both of these are Omnisphere. For this one, we use the Power Strings Dynamic Pop for both of them. And again, it's just a little bit of EQing just to sort of enhance some of the low mids and the high frequencies. I wanted to put more prominence onto the low to mid because there wasn't really too much going on there, because I always try to like add things like strings later on in the mix in areas where I know the frequency band isn't too caught up, because it means they stick through a lot more without sort of clouding up any of like the mid to high frequencies. So this is the first string. It's a staccato string, and it's playing this nice little, again, rhythmic, another counter melody to the rhythm section of the bass, because I love using counter melodies because it just adds a lot more movement to a track. And then we've got a more legato one. Again, this is to kind of compensate with the pads, add that atmosphere and emotion to the song. Put them together. And again, like, it's MIDI and you can tell it's MIDI, but again, it's all about context when it comes to production. Even if something by itself sounds MIDI, if you put it into a production with loads of other things, you will hear that it doesn't sound so MIDI anymore and it sounds a lot more natural in the mix. And that's basically the whole track together. But the only thing we need now is, because we can do a lot better and like add a lot more transition between sections, is to add some crashes, and some sweeps. So again, like from Splice, I sampled in these cymbals. Let's have a listen to these. Sounds really cool. So to create the crash sound, I've literally blended 3 different crashes together. We got this one, this one, and this one. Again, just like 3 different crashes, blend them together, create one crash sound. And another thing that I did as well, because now we want to create that transition between sections. So the pre here, you'll notice this right here. Just that little sweep, like if I was to take it out, it makes the section sound so much less interesting. So again, creating some rises really helps add with the development and the transition between sections. So all I did was I just reversed these. And if you want to know how to reverse in Logic, so let's just say we wanted to reverse this. Normally you can hit Control-Shift-R, but we're going to do this the manual way. So if we just double click on it, go to File, and then Functions, you can see there is an option there to reverse, and it will reverse the track for you. Very easy, but it's such a great thing to utilize just to like add development and change up a production. So yeah, if you put that all together, then you have a Dua Lipa, Love Again, more dance pop and synth pop type beat. And let's remind ourselves again of what the outcome sounds like. There you go, that is how you make a Dua Lipa type production. If any of you watching right now are musicians, you actually like this beat is actually available to license, purchase, or download free of a tag on JG Beats, which is my beat store. I will leave the link below to where you can check out this beat, download it, or purchase it for yourself to use in your own music. But other than that, guys, that is the end of the video. So please hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed this video, and smash that like button as well. Let's get this channel going. There's a lot more of these types of videos on the way, and the support is greatly appreciated. But I look forward to making more videos. But in the meantime, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something from it. Keep making music, and I will see you in the next video.